Oh, hello there. I'm Bilchan.
I'm Nimakung.
I'm Banchan.
In this class, I'll read to all of you. Chapter 5, Section 2 of A Tale of Two Cities, Book the First records a life.
As.
Ah.
A Tale of Two Cities, Book the First records a life. Charles Dickens. Chapter 5, Section 2. Croaked over their scanty measures of thin wine and beer, and were gloweringly confidential together. Nothing was represented in a flourishing condition, save tools and weapons. But the cutlass, knives and axes were sharp and bright. The smith's hammers were heavy, and the gunmaker's stock was murderous. The crippling stones of the pavement, with their many little reservoirs of mud and water, had no footways, but broke off abruptly at the doors. The kennel, to make amends, ran down the middle of the street when it ran at all, which was only after heavy rains. And then it ran, by many eccentric fits, into the houses, across the streets, at wide intervals. One clumsy lamp was slung by a rope and pulley. At night, when the lamplighter had let these down, and lighted, and hoisted them again, a feeble grove of dim wicks swung in a sickly manner overhead, as if they were at sea. Indeed, they were at sea, and the ship and crew were in peril of tempest. For the time was to come when the gaunt scarecrows of that region should have watched the lamplighter, in their idleness and hunger, so long as to conceive the idea of improving on his method, and hauling up men by those ropes and pulleys, to flare upon the darkness of their condition. But the time was not come yet, and every wind that blew over French the rags of the scarecrows in vain. For the birds, fine as sun and feather, took no warning. The wine shop was a corner shop, better than most others in its appearance and degree, and the master of the wine shop had stood outside it, in a yellow waistcoat and green breeches, looking on at the struggle for the lost wine. "It's not my affair," said he, with a final shrug of the shoulders. "The people from the market did it." There, his eyes happening to catch the tall joker riding up his joke, he called to him across the way. Then, Micah spurred. The fellow pointed to his joke with immense significance, as is often the way with his tribe. It missed its mark, and completely failed, as is often the way with his tribe too. "Why now? Are you a subject for the mad hospital?" said the wine shop keeper, crossing the road, and obliterating the jest with a handful of mud, picked up for the purpose, and smeared over it. "Why do you write in the public streets?" In his expostulation he dropped his cleaner hand, perhaps accidentally, perhaps not, upon the joker's heart. The joker rapped it with his own, took a nimble spring upward, and came down in a fantastic dancing attitude, with one of his stained shoes jerked off his foot into his hand, and held out, a joker of an extremely, not to say wolfishly, practical character. He looked, under those circumstances, Put it on. Put it on, said the other. Co-wind. Iron. And finished there. With that advice, he wiped his soiled hand upon the joker's dress, such as it was quite deliberately, as having dirtied the hand on his account, and then recrossed the road and entered the wine shop. This wine shopkeeper was a bull-necked, martial-looking man of 30, and he should have been of a hot temperament. For although it was a bitter day, he wore no coat, but carried one slung over his shoulder. His shirt sleeves were rolled up, too, and his brown arms were bare to the elbows. Hey, he was a dark man altogether, with good eyes and a good bold breadth between them. Good-humoured looking on the whole, but implacable looking, too. Evidently a man of a strong resolution and a set purpose. A man not desirable to be met. Rushing down a narrow pass with a gulf on either side. For nothing would turn the men. Madame Defarge, his wife, sat in the shop behind the counter as he came in. Madame Defarge was a stout woman of about his own age, with a watchful eye that seldom seemed to look at anything. A large hand heavily ringed. A steady face. Strong features. And great composure of manner. There was a character about Madame Defarge, in any of the reckonings over which she presided. Madame Defarge, being sensitive to cold, was wrapped in fur, and had a quantity of bright wool twined about her head, though not to the concealment of her large earrings. Her knitting was before her, but she had laid it down to pick her teeth with a toothpick. Thus engaged, with her right elbow supported by her left hand, Madame Defarge said nothing when her lord came in, but coughed just one grey off cough. That breadth of a line. The customers. For any new customer who had dropped in while he stepped over the way. The wine shopkeeper accordingly rolled his eyes about, until they rested upon an elderly gentleman and a young lady, who was seated in a corner. Other company were there. 2 playing cards. 2 playing dominoes. 3 standing by the counter lengthening out a sure supply of wine. As he passed behind the counter, he took notice that the elderly gentleman said in a look to the young lady, "What the devil do you do in that gully there?" said Mr. Defarge to himself. But he feigned not to notice the 2 strangers, and fell into discourse with the triumvirate of customers who were drinking at the counter. "How goes it?" "Ach," said one of these 3 to Mr. Defarge. "Every drop." "Chack," answered Mr. Defarge. When this interchange of Christian name was effected, Madame Defarge, picking her teeth with her toothpick, coughed another graying of cough, and raised her eyebrows by the breadth of another line. "It is not often," said the second of the 3, addressing Mr. Defarge, "that many of these miserable beasts know the taste of wine." To be continued.